Sierra Leone was once scarred by a decade-long civil war. It paralyzed the country's progress and denied many a chance to go to school. However, there's hope for a brighter future driven by the country's rising school enrollment. And joining me live from Freetown is Conrad Sackey, Sierra Leone Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education. Minister Sackey, welcome to Africa 54. Let's start by the rising number of student enrollment in school, which is remarkable. How did you get there?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. When His Excellency the President came into power in 2018, he introduced as his flagship program a program called the Pre-Quality School Education Program. And this is a poor policy which relieved the average household of the financial burdens that would have stopped them from sending their kids to schools. And so through this process, we provide free tuition, we provide free examination fees, free teaching and learning materials, free school meals, free sanitary pads to our girls, and assistive technology to those who are disabled. In addition to that, we also introduce progressive policies. And let me just highlight a few of them for you. The first one is in 2020, we overturned a 5-year ban on pregnant girls from attending schools. The second is that in 2021, we introduced a policy called the Radical Inclusion Policy that targets marginalized kids to be re-engaged into schools. And we also have a national out-of-school strategy, which targets those who have fallen through the cracks and re-engaging them back into the education system. And lastly, just this year, we introduced a policy which ended child marriages, and it's titled the Prohibition of Child Marriage Bill of 2024. So you could see that these are things that have removed the barriers for those young people who may not have been engaged in school. And
right.
We have lifted the burden of parents.
Right. Let's move on from there, because I really want to hear how the girls are doing. How has technology changed Sierra Leone's education system, especially for girls who are left behind, even as we remember the dark days of the Civil War?
Well, I think in the first instance, our education transformation strategy is underpinned and focused on the use of technology to drive data and data-led decisions. So we piloted, for example, a program called We There, which stands for We Are Here. And this is an education and attendance monitoring policy that targets both learners and teachers. So in the case of learners, you can then identify where the learners are. You could also identify those who are in need of extra support. So in the case of the girl child, those who are pregnant, those who are parents, learners themselves, and those with disabilities, we can also identify those and what their disabilities are. We will then target the support that we provide for these learners so as to ensure that they do not drop out of the system. This was done as a pilot, and the intention is to scale this up to a national level across the country in the next 1 or 2 years.
Minister Sackey, what's your strategy to get every child in school? Because there's still some out there who don't think they should be in school, or maybe the parents don't see the point. What's your strategy here?
Well, we do have a national out-of-school strategy, which targets those young learners that have dropped out of school. And the idea there is that we approach them, we provide them with some incentives, we then identify what their needs are, and through those needs, we will provide a support package for them so that they would be retained in the system. Those who are much older, we provide some form of functional literacy and numeracy, in addition to some vocational skills, so that they can survive whilst actually picking up the key skills of literacy and numeracy.
So when you look at the girls and the boys, which one is, what are you getting in terms of enrollment? Are the girls enrolling more or the boys?
Well, we have a parity of esteem in our primary schools and in our junior secondary schools. We are yet to achieve that in the senior secondary school, but this is something that we are working on quite effectively and robustly.